My name is Maya, and welcome to the episode 18 of the Mila's Tinks knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process, and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. So today is the 16th of March 2024, and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko. You can find me on Instagram at milais.tinks, and you can find links of everything I talk about down in the description box below, as well as my measurements if you are interested. So today I have only one work in progress that's knitting related, and another one that's not knitting but still fiber related. And I have one finished object, which is the one I am wearing. However, I have already shared it last week, and the only difference is that I have blocked it and that I am not wearing it backwards this time. Yeah, so I don't have a lot of actual knitting content, however I have quite a few stories to share, one of which is that I discovered that I had a moth attack last year. Actually, I knew it because I could see the moth flying around and then they just disappeared. And I thought it was over, however, it was, but I found a lot of, the cocoons in my Nutiden stash. But I'm gonna tell that at the end of the episode. And I also have an update, or the end of the story, on my yarn advent from this December. I thought I was gonna get the missing minis one day, but I think I will never, so yeah. If you're interested in that story, stay until the end too. But I think that's all, so let's get into it right away. So the first thing is what I'm wearing. As I mentioned, this is the Doppio Sweater by Sunny Hong, and this is a gift for a very good childhood friend of mine who is turning 30 this year, and this is like a group gift where the other girls are sponsoring the gift and I am knitting it. So it's not for me, it's a little bit too big for me, but yeah, it's finished and blocked and it's perfect. I'm really happy with it. So the yarn I used is Rerum Natura Cyrano in the colorway Eucalyptus, and I used 5.5mm needles, which is the recommended, I think, and this is size 2. And the only modifications I made are I shortened the sleeves because it's designed to go down here. And my friend is short, she's shorter than me, so I've done that. And I also lengthened the body a little bit because, yeah, I'm just wearing sweatpants anyway, because I don't think she wants something too cropped. So that's it. And if you want more details on this, on the yarn or on the knitting in itself, you can go watch my latest episode, episode 17, which I will probably link there. Yes, there. So yeah. So let's get straight into the first work in progress, and also the only one. It is the Woodruff turtleneck by Celine Phaeton. And I have made quite good progress on it, but I am chaos and I am usually knitting something from all the directions at the same time, so I have a lot of stuff going on all at once, but here it is. Yeah, it's difficult to show, but the turtleneck is done and I have started both sleeves and I am knitting on the body. Almost done with the body. I think I have like 10 or 12 centimeters left to go, and yeah, the whole sleeves, which is very unusual for me. I usually knit the sleeves first, but in this case the sleeves need a little bit of thinking and I needed some mindless knitting, so I'm doing the body. But I am feeling the urge to knit the sleeves, so yeah, whatever. I have a lot of stuff to say about this one, so I'm not going to repeat everything I've said in the last episode already. So if you want details on the sizing, why I chose what and everything, you can go watch that one. But for the new stuff I want to mention, first the yarn. So the yarn is by Woolberry Fiber Company. It's the berry natural base, which is 100% non-spore wash fingering weight merino yarn. This is the last skein I have. It's untouched for now, so it's a gorgeous deep emerald green, and the colorway name is Nook. I'm obsessed with it. It's just my favorite color. I just love it. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff to say, as I said, so I have made a list. First, yeah, the sizing, briefly. This is a pattern where you can mix and match the sizes for the cross shoulder, the bust, and the bicep circumference, which is very fitting for me because I have weird proportions going on. So I have chosen to knit size 8 for cross shoulders, size 2 for the bust, and size 4 for the bicep. It's going well, it's fitting nicely. I will put it on afterwards, but for now I'm just telling you it's fitting me correctly, so it's nice. First, my gauge. I know my gauge is a mess, but fortunately I know myself and I know what's going to happen when. So I just know how to like counteract the weird stuff I'm gonna do. And in this case, when I swatched flat, and my gauge was a little bit too tight. However, I know that my flat gauge can, but not always, can be tighter than my in the round gauge. It just depends on the mood I am in, on the period of the year, it just depends. And I could feel I was in the mood to be tighter flat than in the round. Especially for this one, I don't know why, I could feel it. And it happened to be the case, so what I did is I used 3.25mm needles for the flat section, so the front panel and the back panel. And I used the recommended needle, which is 3mm for all the in the round sections. And it worked out great. I don't think you can really see a difference when I switch from flat to in the round, which happened around the underarm. And yeah, I think I did a good job. There is some rowing out happening in the flat section, since the issue for me is my pearls are tighter than my knits. I knit continental, and I basically yank my pearls because I know they're gonna be too loose otherwise, which make them tighter than the knits in the end. So yeah, there is a little bit of rowing out, but this is a non-spore wash yarn and it's gonna block out. And also it's getting very fuzzy because it's a very soft merino wool and it just peels a lot. So it's getting the fuzziness that's kind of hiding the rowing out, which is not too bad to begin with, so it's okay. So there's that, and I think for the rest I will have to put it on, so I'll do that now. I hope I didn't lose too many stitches in the process. Yeah, so this is how it fits, and I'm so happy. The general fit, you can see, by the way, the two sleeves are not the same size, but I'm gonna go into that later. The shoulder fit is perfect, I would say. It's sitting right where I want it to. This is the correct one. So it's sitting at the tip of my shoulder, and since it's not been blocked, but it has been moved around and thrown around and then stretched and everything so much that it has actually probably already stretched to the point it will be when I block it. So it won't move a lot, especially since this is a non-spore wash yarn. So the fit is pretty accurate, and yeah, you can tell the seam is hitting exactly where I want it to, which is, by the way, a little bit further than what the pattern is graded for. But I have discussed that with the designer, and she told me it's graded to be a little bit more inwards, and I prefer it being a little bit more out. So yeah, it's exactly where I want it, but it's a little bit further than what the design is made for, just so you know. And on the back, it's gonna be hard to show. On the back it's also sitting very nicely where I want it. So yeah, perfect. The only thing I could say is that actually I chose size 8 for the cross shoulders, but the thing is, it's only size 8 for the back and my front is much smaller. So it's even more complicated than just the cross shoulder thing for me. So what I did, I knew that coming in, so I chose the size 8, but I did the front panel a little bit smaller than the back panel. So I did, I think, one decrease here, one decrease about here, and I did less increase rounds for the increase rows for the neckline here, and I have maybe 4 less stitches overall, 2 on each side. So I'm already 2 times 6 stitches smaller for the front panel than the back, which is good. But I think I was hesitant to continue doing decreases around here. I was already doing them here, following the pattern, but I was hesitant to add more hidden inside the fabric here. And I think I should have, because this is going a little bit too far, and I would have preferred it if the fabric was more like, the seam was more like this. So I have a little bit of extra fabric there. You can see it actually, which is not happening on the back because the back is just perfect. And yeah, but it's not a problem. I mean, it looks fine, but I will just know for the next time, because I'm pretty sure I will do another one of these. I can do more decreases on the front. I was just afraid of doing too much and then having issues when lifting my arm up, so yeah. So that's it for this part. The turtleneck I had to knit twice because, I mean, I also had to do the pickup 3 times. The first one I did it, I used the wrong needle. I picked up the bigger needle I used for the flat section on the shoulders, which is the 3.25. And you are supposed to knit the ribbing on 2.5. So I was like 3 sizes too big. So I had to undo, I had knit like 2 centimeters, I had to undo everything, pick up again with the correct needle, and then I started knitting and it was so tight. This is, the design calls for full twisted rib. So if I undo it, this is the pickup line, and then you knit the full twisted rib until you reach this point where you start the cable motif. I did that, and I haven't done twist and rib in a long time, and I knew it, but I kind of forgot. But my twisted rib gauge is the tightest thing ever. And I had just forgotten about it, and when I was knitting I could feel it was so small. I was using, first when I picked up, I was using like a needle that was like this long, but my stitches were overstretched and the needle was too long, so I had to switch for a smaller one, and it was still too long. I couldn't fit my stitches on the needle, so I had to go down even more to a smaller circumference, and I was like, this is smaller than my neck. So how am I going to put my head through that? But I just pushed through for some reason. No, I know why, because actually I tried it on when I had knit like 5 centimeters, and the thing with ribbing is that the more you knit, the less stretchy it gets. I don't know if you've already noticed that, but like if you cast on a long amount of ribbing, it's super easy to stretch when you have only 2 to 3 rows, but as soon as you have like 5 centimeters, it gets a little bit stiffer. And when I tried it on, I had a short enough amount of ribbing to be able to put it over my head. So I thought, oh, it's okay, I can put it off. And then when I finished the whole thing, I didn't bind off, but I finished the cabling section and everything, and I could barely fit it over my head. I was like, what happened? And yeah, I managed to finally put it on. I was really afraid of ripping everything off because I was just tugging so hard on this part, and I could barely breathe because it was so tight around my neck. Yeah, and I could also see the fabric was getting pulled in super hard because the pickup was so tight. So yeah, I had to take it out, even though I suffered through the knitting, because since it was so tight and the circumference was so small, I really suffered. There is no other way to tell it. Every stitch I was doing, I was like, oh, I hope this is over soon because I hate it. Yeah, so I had to undo everything and then I started over. But what I didn't change the needle size. I stuck to the 2.5 millimeters. However, I did only half twisted rib. So what I did is that for the pickup section, I started knitting half twisted rib with the twist on the outside, and then I knit like, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but I knit like 5 centimeters until here. And then I did one short row and I switched the inside out so that I would have the twisted column on the inside. Since this is folded over, it is now the side that is showing out. And then I did the cabling and everything is fine. And while I was doing that, I was wondering, but why are we supposed to knit full twisted rib? There must be a reason, because no designer is going to tell you to suffer through full twisted rib when everyone knows purling through the back loop is super painful, if there is no reason. And there was one, of course. It's because half twisted rib tends to lean on one side, because there is only twist on one side of the fabric, so of course it tends to go in a diagonal, which it does. You can kind of tell it's going, it's hard to see. Yeah, it's going this way for the beginning, and when I switch, it starts to go this way. But it's fine, I don't care. You can barely see it. You can maybe tell the cabling is a little bit twisted, but it's okay, nobody cares. And then it's not centered anymore because it went this way a little bit, but it went in this way more. So, but it's fine. I don't care, I don't mind. I cannot see it anyway, and nobody's gonna notice it, so it's okay. I'm not gonna do it a third time. And now I can put it on, so it's perfect. The next thing is the sleeves. So this is a big one, because actually the sweater is designed to have negative ease on the bust and on the body in general, but positive ease on the sleeves. And I knew that going in, and I thought it was nice. However, I forgot that in general for garments, if I have positive ease on the body, I don't like having negative ease on the sleeves. However, if I have negative ease on the body, I don't like having positive ease on the sleeves. It's either positive ease everywhere or negative ease everywhere. So I started knitting the sleeve with the amount of positive ease I was supposed to choose for the garment. You're supposed to have, I think, 5 centimeters of positive ease for the arms. So I measured my bicep, added 5 and chose size accordingly, which gave me size 4. So I have the correct amount of positive ease. However, I don't like it, I just don't. And also I'm getting a little bit of a princess sleeve effect, because, as I mentioned earlier, I chose to put the seam on the shoulders a little bit more out than the design is made for, so it's doing that. And I don't like it. It's just weird. I just don't like it. So what I've done, the problem is the arm side. It's not a problem actually, it's good that the arm side is, I mean the depth from the shoulder to the underarm is for size 4, because I have big shoulders, and if I had picked size 1, which is the one that gives me 0 ease, I think, probably, it would be too tight, because this is already right in my armpits, so size 4 is good for the arm side depth. But the circumference of the sleeve in itself is too big. So what I did, this satin sleeve is designed as a satin sleeve, so you are doing rapid increases here on the shoulder tip. I don't think all satin sleeves are designed like that, but this one is. And if I remove the rapid increases I did here, and I do some decreases under here, and I pick up a tiny bit less stitches, I managed to get, I think, 14 stitches less in circumference, which gives me a little bit bigger than size 1. But then I can do a gusset at the underarm. I do that often and I know it works well for me, so I will do that. So this is the sleeve I have knit with the 14 less stitches, so I removed the rapid increases here and I will do some decreases there. And this is nice. This is fitting perfectly, the shoulder fits nicely, and there's negative ease. No, I think this is just 0 ease. And it's looking much better, in my opinion, than this one. So I'm just gonna cruise on this when I'm ready. I'm not yet. I'm not 100% sure about what I'm doing there, so I just need a little bit more time to think. Because I'm not sure I want to actually do decreases, because my arms are big until here, and even my forearms are big, so I'm not sure I actually want decreases there. Otherwise it's gonna be too tight on the forearm. So yeah, we will see. But that's where I'm at. The other modification I did is that I added waist shaping. Maybe you can tell there are some decreases there. And I just stopped the decreases, and then I'm starting to do increases from here, so that I get a perfectly hugging silhouette. So I think that's it for this one, for now. I'm just cruising along. I've left this leave-in just so that you could see the difference, but now I'm going to unravel it and knit the same way as this one. And I hope it will be done by next episode, probably. And yeah, I'm super excited about it. I really love it. It's not 100% perfect, but it's still so much better than any store-bought clothes of this type I have ever owned. Like, I have never had anything that falls exactly at the tip of my shoulders. It's always like this for me. And I hate it. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it's already so good. So yeah, super happy with this one. It's okay, I put it on the correct side. I'm still traumatized by last episode where I was wearing this backwards. This time it's okay. Yeah, so let's go into the next work in progress, which is not knitting related, and it is... It's like a, I have no idea how you call that, like a macramé hanger thing? But for now I only have the threads, and it's not exactly going to be macramé, but kind of, but not only with this. I will just show you the reel I got inspired from. I saw it, like Instagram served it to me on my, how do you call that, like Discover page, and I instantly fell in love. Like, it's so beautiful. I just had to do it. I had like an instant urge. I straight went to the, how do you call that, like the DIY store or whatever to buy a wooden dowel, and I actually had this macrame cord hanging around in my stash. A friend gifted to me like years ago, and it was stressing me out because I don't do macrame. But I have found the perfect use, so it's just everything fell into place, and I can use some leftovers to do the actual stitching on the threads. Yeah, so I can use leftovers, I can use this yarn that was in my stash for so long, and once it's done I will probably hang it like behind me, or maybe on the door in my apartment, and I'll probably do 10 of these and hang them everywhere at my place. So yeah, I'm just super excited about it. And I will first have to, I think I will like hot glue them to the dowel so that they don't move, because for now they can twist around. And then I will give them a steam so that they lay flat. And the yarn I will use is leftovers, but a big amount of leftovers. I'm not gonna use everything, of course, but yeah. From a sweater I knit for an ex-boyfriend years ago, and I bought a cone, and a 1 kilo cone. And I had like 300 or 400 grams left, and I didn't know what to do with them, because it's not enough for me to knit a sweater, but it's Aran weight, and I don't usually knit a lot with Aran weight, so I don't have any other leftovers to pair it with, and I don't want to buy yarn to complete this, or to complete the sweater quantity. So yeah, it has just been laying around in my stash, not knowing what to do with, and I have finally found a usage. So obviously this is not on a cone. I have just taken it off from the cone yesterday night, because I wanted to wash it. No, first the yarn. This is from Donegal Yarns. It's an Ireland brand, and this is the Kilcara tweed base, and the colorway is 1745 navy, but I think on their website is called 1745 Corey something. I don't know, I read it somewhere. And I bought the 1 kilo cone for 50 euros plus 5 euros of shipping. Can you believe that? Yeah, and it arrived in a week, and the yarn was gorgeous. The sweater I knit is absolutely amazing. but yeah, it's for an ex-boyfriend, so I don't have it anymore, obviously. Yeah, and probably the reason why it was so cheap is because it was straight from the mill and there was a lot of spinning oil on it. This is actually another one. I have 3, by the way. So this one is skinned, this one is not washed, and yesterday I washed this one. So as you can, the smell is terrible. It smells like spinning oil too. This one is straight from the cone, so you can maybe see. It's like, it's supposed to be iron, but it's very thin because it hasn't bloomed. And yeah, it's super crispy and you can definitely feel the oil, and yeah, it's kind of not nice. But I knew, because I had washed the sweater, I knew it was gonna bloom and be super nice afterwards, but I didn't want it because on this I can't wash it, I can't block the thing. So I needed to wash the yarn beforehand, so that's what I did yesterday. And this is the skin I have washed, and you can already see it's so much fuzzier. Maybe you can tell, or maybe not. Like, the quality is very different. So yeah, you can definitely tell how much it bloomed. So I'm happy I did that. This one is still drying, and I will probably be able to use it like tomorrow or just next week. And I'm just super excited to finally use up those leftovers and just find something to do with them, and have something to decorate my empty walls. And just be able to try this new craft I have never tried before, but I get so excited about. I'm also probably planning to use contrast color. Wow! This is some leftover, it's 100% silk, it's like a DK or worsted weight. I bought that in a store in Praha 2 years ago. I have no idea. You need to go there to buy the yarn, because I think they spun this themselves. I think you can get it on the website, but I'm not sure they ship outside of the country. So yeah, there is no real way to get a hang of this, but yeah, this is obviously a yoke. It's a manual bloom, but it's back in the days where I wasn't aware of how much fabric I could get out of one skein, and this is half of the skein, it's 50 grams, but since there was no tag or anything on the skein, I just didn't know how much I had, and I decided to just try. Of course, it wasn't enough. I mean, I managed to finish the yoke, but then I couldn't even split for the sleeves, so yeah. I have this left over. I have already knit something else with it, but I had 50 grams left, and it would be perfect to do a contrast with this one. And the last perfect thing for this project is that actually I learned to do macramé, not the macramé on the wall with the knots and everything with the single color thread, but like friendship bracelet macramé. I learned to do that a year ago in Korea, in 2022. It's actually a friend of my mom's that offered to my brother and I to take a course for whatever crafty thing we wanted when we were there, and we chose macramé. So we went to a course to learn how to do it. My brother and I. It was actually funny to do macramé with my brother because he's not really crafty. But yeah, it was cute. And so I did this one there, and I also bought a little bit more thread to do more, but I'm waiting on this one to actually break before I do another one. I'm gonna have to change the battery. There you go. But since this one hasn't broken yet, I didn't have any occasion to use the knowledge I got from my friend's mom. And I know sometimes she will ask my mom, hey, did your daughter make any more bracelets? And she's like, no. And I know she's a little bit disappointed because she would just want me to use what she had paid for me to learn. And I think this will be a pretty grateful way to show how happy I am to have learned to do macramé and put it to some other use. And yeah, I'm just super happy to be able to do that. So it's like a lot of different things are coming together in a single project, and I'm just super excited about it. and yeah, I can't wait to start it. Yay! So that's it for my second work in progress. And yeah, I think that's it for today regarding the fiber stuff. I had, as I said, some stories I wanted to tell. So the first one, oh no, actually I wanted to do a little yarn in, yarn out section, because I have mentioned in the last episode I am actually tracking the yarn I buy, and I'm using an app that's tracking for me the yarn I use. And I just wanted to do a little update on that, because I have the loose plan to buy less yarn than I use this year. Yes, to have a net negative amount of yarn in my stash. But I'm not really keeping track, I'm just vaguely seeing if it works or not. So yeah, I wanted to do a little update on that. So the yarn in I have bought this year, I counted that, I have bought about 2,900 grams of yarn, so a little less than 3 kilos, which can seem like a lot, but wait until I tell you how much I've used. So the app I used is the Knit and Note app, and it's telling me I have used, is this 1,900 grams this year. I've completed 6 projects apparently, and used 6.5 kilometers of yarn. Yeah, so that's a little less than 2 kilos. However, this is only counting the projects I have completed. So, for example, it's not counting the yarn in my Woodruff turtleneck, and it's also not counting the yarn I have on my granny square blanket or in my Arctic morning blanket, which is the big hexagonal colorwork blanket. And that's a lot. So I have counted that on top. So I have used about 200 grams for the granny square blanket. I have counted what I crocheted last year already. So 200 grams is what I've used this year. I have used 500 grams for the hexi colorwork blanket, and I am using 300 grams for the Woodruff. I have used 200 until now, but let's just count 300. And the total of the extra I'm adding is exactly, I've just rounded the amounts, that's 1 kilo. So the 1,900 the app is saying plus 1 kilo is 2,900 grams, which is exactly the amount I have bought. So for now I am net 0 for the year, which is cool because I have actually bought a lot of yarn, so I was expecting to be on the positive, but actually it's okay, it's fine. So I'm on track and I'm happy about that. I have bought a pre-order from Woolberry that's coming in a few weeks. However, my next project is a big one that will use a lot of yarn, so this is probably going to even out. And there is a fiber festival coming in 3 weeks, so maybe I'm gonna splurge there. We will see what happens. I'm not going to be too hard on myself, but yeah, I just try my best to not buy yarn I won't use or don't have any plans for. And for now, I'm sticking to that and it's going fine. So yeah, next I wanted to tell you about a moth attack that happened last year. First, I want to say right now there's no moth in my apartment and there hasn't been any since I moved in. So it was actually in my old place and the moths were actually in the apartment, like in the walls, because there were a lot of wood. I was below the roof, so there was a lot of wood on the roof planes. So I could have thrown away all my stuff and the moth would still be there because they were in the house. So yeah, I just decided to try and live with them. But suddenly, they disappeared. I don't know what happened. I mean, I did some things. I threw away all the food that got contaminated, and I was still moving around a lot of my stuff so that I wouldn't get too much into it. And I was placing like those stickers things where they just come on and die on a little bit everywhere. And suddenly they just died. I don't know. And also, I just decided to learn to live with them, because at one point I had knit cardigan for my mom out of Nutiden plus mohair, and I had hanged it in the middle of the way. Like every time I was going out of the room and to anywhere in my place, I was touching it and I was like giving a little bit of a pat so that it would move around, so that the moth wouldn't go on them, because it was for my mom and I really didn't want anything to go on this one. And after a month, I suddenly realized there were 2 little moth cocoons on the fabric, right in the middle of it, right in the sunlight, and I was like, I'm done. I can't do anything against them. They don't even care for everything that's hidden or in the shade, they just go on whatever they find. So I was like, there's no point in me fighting them, they're just there. So yeah, I decided to stop fighting and they disappeared. So I thought it was over and I would never hear of them again. However, what happened a few weeks ago, I went through my Nutiden stash to pick out some yarn, and then I saw a lot of moth cocoons on my Nutiden plates, and I was like, what? But there was nothing alive. It was all only dead, like empty cocoons, so all the moths were gone, and I was just seeing the aftermath of what happened a year ago, and I was like, good, because that means actually the problem is already, it's solved by itself. But then I was left with a lot of like, not dirty, but just like contaminated stuff. However, it's only the Nutiden I have bought prior to last summer that got the moth cocoon in them, and everything I have bought after this had nothing at all. Which means it was just my old stash, which is not that much actually, so that's also good. But then I wanted to be sure everything was dead, so I emptied my freezer, and I had too much yarn to put everything all at once in the freezer, so I put a third of it in the freezer for 2 weeks, then I switched it, and now I put second third of it in the freezer, and now everything I have left that hasn't been in the freezer is only the newest yarn that hasn't been touched by the moth. Maybe I will put them in still, but probably not. But yeah, it's a super weird story of a moth attack that only attacked my Nutiden and died by itself for no reason. I just don't know what happened, but yeah, I have checked all my clothes, obviously, because when I moved I checked everything, because I knew there were some moths going around a few months ago, so I wanted to be sure, and I couldn't find anything. I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah, it's a happy ending in the end, but yeah, it's still a mystery what happened, but I'm not gonna complain, so. But yeah, I just hope I'm not gonna find any more moth cocoons elsewhere, like in my books, or I don't know. Yeah, anyway. So that's it for this one. And the last story I wanted to tell you is about my MarLen yarn advent I bought for December 2023. And I just wanted to tell you the end of the story, because I think now it's over, and this one is not a happy ending. Yeah, so let me tell you the whole thing from the beginning. I will do, of course, a shorter version, but if you want the longer one, you can watch the after Christmas episodes of my podcast, and there I go on about exactly what happened. But yeah, short story. I bought the MarLen Advent yarn calendar in August of last year. It was composed of 24 skeins, mini skeins, 12 non-superwash and 12 superwash. And there probably was a full skein. I don't know. But I think there was, because I saw a podcaster mention they had one. So I think they should, but I don't have it. I'll go into that later. So that happened in August, the pre-order. And then at the beginning of November, or the end of October, I got a shipping notification. And I was like, perfect, I'm gonna get the yarn before Christmas, which is nice. 2 weeks later, I was clicking on the notification tracking number, and there was nothing happening on the tracking, like at all. And one of them wasn't even working, because you could go on 2 different websites, and one of them wasn't working at all. And I was like, is there even anything happening on this number? I don't know. So I wrote an email, didn't get an answer. Wrote a second one, didn't get an answer. I wrote a third one, and this time she answered. And she basically said, oh, I don't know, it's stuck in the customs, I don't know what's happening, but it happens to a lot of other parcels. So I went to check the tracking number again, still nothing. And when a few days after that, the parcel arrived in Switzerland, and then I got a new tracking number. So I clicked on that one, and I could see in the history of this new tracking number that actually the parcel wasn't sent until 1 week before. And the first notification I got was 3 weeks before. So she said the parcel was stuck in the custom when actually she didn't even... It was still in her house. Yeah, whatever. So I got the parcel at, I think, the 5th of December. I received it, so it was a little bit late, but I still got it, so it was fine. And then I opened it, and all the minis were like thrown inside a single bag, and I was like, that's a weird way to pack a large amount of little stuff, but okay. And I proceeded to count them, and I had 5 missing. So I had only 19 minis on the 24 I was supposed to get, and I wasn't aware there was supposed to be a full skin, and I still don't know if there was supposed to be one, but it wasn't there anyway. So I sent an email to her and I asked, hey, do you happen to have any spares of the minis, because I'm missing 5, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's probably the customs that lost them, which I believe, but then don't pack your parcels like that so that they don't lose them, because of course, like, imagine a plastic mailer with 24 or 25 different stuff thrown in there, and then imagine the person at the customs, they take the bag, open it, empty it on the counter, and then check what's all of this and put it back in the bag. Of course some of them are gonna fall out, I mean... Anyway, so she said she was gonna send me others, but I knew she was pregnant at the time and she was due for the beginning of January. Suddenly she went out of the radar and she didn't answer anymore, and then after a few weeks she answered again and she said, hey, I just gave birth early, I don't know how you say that in English, but like before the due date. And I was like, no problem, it's okay, I don't need that yarn immediately, so as long as I get it, it's fine. Just take your time with the baby, and once you are back in business, we can just chat again. She said it would be in like 2 to 3 weeks I could contact her again. So I waited for a little bit, and then I sent another email in January, mid-January. And she had mentioned in her last newsletter that she would be selling mystery packs of all the superwash dyed yarns in her shop, and that maybe later in the year, like in the summer, she would probably sell the cones of the non-superwash yarns she has milled herself. So what I sent in the mail is that, hey, I saw you will be selling the cones, I'm not interested in the superwash yarn, however I would like to get a cone, so maybe I can buy a cone, pay for the shipping, and you just throw the missing minis in the bag so that you don't have to pay for the extra shipping yourself. Nice. And she answered, that's a super good idea, we can do that, so it's okay for the cone, and we will just... I don't know how she said that, but it was like, just tell me which... we can find a solution for which color you want, we will get into that. And she never answered again. I have sent like, I think 5 mails after that, waiting a week or 2 between each mails, and she just disappears. So I have kind of lost hope now. I was pretty sure it was gonna work out. I really did my best. I was always super kind to her, super comprehensive about the situation and everything, and maybe a little bit too much, I would say, but I just didn't want it to stress her out. And I was always saying in my emails, if you don't have time, if it's too much for you, if you have too many stuff to do with your baby and the closing of your business, it's okay, please just tell me. I just want to know I can switch plans with the yarn and not wait on those minis to finish my project. Just tell me, it's okay, there is no pressure, it's fine. But she just chose to disappear. Or maybe she blocked me, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think I need to tell you how annoyed I am by all this story, but I think you get it. But yeah, that's just the sad ending of this story. And now, yeah, I just need to find something else to finish my granny square blankets, and I wanted to do a switch up with non-superwash minis, and I will have to complete with something else. Which is fine, but just tell me. Yeah, whatever. So, and now the aftermath of this is that I would love to get another advent for the upcoming Christmas season, but every time I see an ad for an advent, even though I knew I would like it, it's like my color wheel, my type of dyer, and everything could fall into place, but I'm like, I don't want to go through this ever again. I made you the short story, but it was so annoying when it was happening. And the first advent I bought, it wasn't the dyer's fault, and this one was handled very, very well, but I received the Christmas advent in March, and there was one mini that was actually a DK mini instead of a fingering. And yeah, so this story was pretty chill, it's okay, and again, it was not the dyer's fault, and everything was fine. But it's just that for now, all the advent calendars I have bought have gone bad for some reason. And I'm like, I'm tired of this. I think I just have enough yarn in my stash to just do an advent for myself for next year, or next Christmas season. Which is kind of sad, but yeah, it is what it is. Whatever, let's not dwell onto that. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say for today. For my life, these days, again, not so much going on. I still go climbing. I went climbing yesterday. I'm destroyed. I'm glad you cannot see my hands from close because, yeah, it's complicated. And there still is the qualifications for the contest going on at my local gym. Basically, the qualifications are going on for a whole month, and the more boulders you climb and the more points you get, and then there is a ranking for the best 6 males and the best 6 females. And before they opened the last set of boulders, I think I was second. But I will go back tomorrow and see how well I do in the ranking this time. I think I'm going down to 3rd place. I don't know. But I will be in the finals anyway. There is really a small chance that I get pushed out of the 6 best, so I should be in the finals, which is cool, which is nice. And we will see how well I do. So it's happening next Thursday, so wish me luck. And I'll probably try to record the finals, so if you want to see some footage of me climbing with the whole crowd shouting at me on the wall, then don't forget to subscribe. And also, of course, if you want to see the finished Woodruff turtleneck or the finished macramé hanger, yeah, you can subscribe to my channel. And if you like this content, you can also give me a like. And as always, I always appreciate reading your comments. They always make my heart sing, so yeah, don't hesitate to leave one if you want to. And that's it for me. So I wish you a happy weekend, happy rest of your day, happy knitting, happy everything. Bye!